Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. As the United States continues to fight a surge in COVID infections and hospitalizations, other countries around the world have found success in slowing the spread of the virus. One of those countries is Taiwan, where there hasn't been community spread of the virus in over 230 days. Well, we want to take a look into how Taiwan has been having their success, and we're welcoming in our Jesse Inman tonight and Francis Lin. Jesse spoke with someone from the Ozarks who lives in Taiwan today, and our Francis Lin is actually from Taiwan and has a lot of knowledge about the situation there. Both of you guys, thanks for being here tonight. To start things off, Jesse, you spoke with Jake Hanna, who's an Ozarks native who has lived in Taiwan for 3 years now. How has his experience been different than the experience of folks here in the U.S.?
Yeah, John, full disclosure for those viewing this at home, I actually know Jake Hanna from back at our days at Republic High School. We're both local guys here, and so he went to Missouri State and then ended up going to Taiwan to finish up his master's degree in global studies, and he liked it so much that he stayed, and now all of a sudden, you look up and he's been there almost 3 years. So he was there from... this year has been really interesting, he told me. He's been there from the start of the pandemic until now. And things kind of got kicked off there around January is when things for him and his experience kind of started to pick up there. And he said it's been very surreal, kind of, living a certain experience there in Taiwan and then, having that perspective of looking back how things are going here at home, talking to his friends and family, and just kind of a lot of stark contrasts in the way things are going, in a lot of different aspects of this, things like contact tracing and quarantining, things like that. And Francis, you being from Taiwan, I know you are on top of a lot of the things that they have implemented there, especially things like contact tracing, right?
Yeah, Jesse. So first, a little bit of background information. So Taiwan has 23 million people and is located right next to China, and only around 550 confirmed cases and 7 deaths ever since COVID-19 started. And because of the country's mask mandates and quarantine mandates, Taiwan will be the only few countries to grow an economy this year. So in terms of contact tracing, Taiwan has an average of 20 to 30 contacts linked to each confirmed case where everyone has to go through quarantine. In an extreme example, there was a case where a worker in a club tested positive and the government tracked down 150 contacts. All of them had to do a 14-day quarantine, even if they tested negative. Now, in terms of quarantine, so it's not easy to make sick or exposed people stay in quarantine. Taiwan had taken steps to increase food and grocery delivery systems. So far, around 340,000 people quarantined, less than 1,000 people fined for breaking that quarantine, which means there's a 99.7% compliance. Now, Taiwan's former vice president said we sacrificed 14 days of 340,000 people in exchange for normal lives for 23 million people. Now, Jesse, did Jake talk anything more about quarantine or travel ban?
Yeah, he told me that, he hasn't seen his family in almost 3 years. And while he says that, they want him to come back here, especially for the holidays and things coming up, that, his goal is to get them to come to him. But of course, there are a lot of things, a lot of hoops that you'd have to jump through to do that. And he says it's very different there than it is here. Of course, you covered a lot of that, and we know how things are here. But even things like masking are looked upon completely different there than they are here. He mentioned that it's really not a politicized issue at all.
Yeah, maybe some things the U.S. can pick up on as we try to stop the spread of COVID here in the United States. Fran and Jesse, thanks for being here tonight, and we'll be back with more Ozarks Tonight right after the break.